So the thing is, as overjoyed as I am about the Yankees start, Shohei Ohtani, the story has just completely fallen by the wayside. Like, if you Google him, nothing even really comes up in the first, 6 searches of what's happening. So it's he's hit a bomb. That's great. And I know there's the investigation is going on, and that's great. However, do we remember what it was 2 weeks ago when the season started? How concerned we were about Major League Baseball and this story? What are we doing here?
Well, I think this is what I feel. I don't think that Major League Baseball wants to find anything, but I trust them that if they find something, it will be a situation that they'll take care of. The federal investigation supposedly is ongoing. Major League Baseball's investigation is ongoing, so we're not going to hear updates on that. But I think the most unbelievable thing to me, fans don't care about this. The guy has never had to take questions on this. Not once. Not once. What other athlete in any professional sport would be allowed to remain mum, not say a word other than a prepared statement, and never take a question? Did you gamble on baseball?
But you know what's interesting, Michael, is that the biggest problem with Major League Baseball is working in their favor in this situation. It's a regional sport. It was a big deal for a little bit, and then we kind of settle in. But it's not a regional sport when it comes to a Dodger and the biggest name in the sport. But no one cares anymore. Like, if this had been LeBron James, it would be going on and on and on. I mean, Ohtani's a name, but let's face it, Michael, it's a name that resonates with a lot of people, but he's played in the West Coast his entire life. People are focused on their teams. Yankee fans are watching the Yankees. Met fans are watching the Mets, and now they've kind of settled into the season. It was a story before the season started, and once we started playing, nobody's focused on it because they only care about their team, and they only care about what's going on in their world. Ohtani's 3,000 miles away, playing in games that right now nobody cares about. Now, when he comes to New York, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a stir because it'll get talked about again. And then when he leaves to go someplace else, it'll go back to not being a non-story.
So let's say we buy into what you're saying. It's a story in L.A. Why is he allowed not to answer questions?
I'm not defending that. I'm just saying that, you said fans don't care.
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't. You just say the fans...
The fans should care. Of course, I didn't say the fans don't care. You said they don't care because it's regional.
But the fans don't seem to care when an athlete doesn't speak.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden you're going to be hypocritical and say, well, he should be talking whenever their favorite player doesn't speak. Well, why do they have to talk to you?
But it's just amazing to me, after every kind of tough loss, Francisco Lindor talks, Aaron Judge talks, Juan Soto, the biggest stars in the world. This guy does not have to answer a question, and he's in the middle of what could be one of the biggest scandals in baseball history, and he has not answered a question.
Is there anything that you can compare to this?
Nothing. There's nothing. I've never heard of a star, a superstar, just completely be allowed to ignore the media and in effect, ignore the fans, too. It's amazing to me. And you know who started it? The Angels. The Angels let him get away with it. And the Dodgers, well, this is what it's been. They let him get away with it. He had a press conference, read from a statement, and did not take the question that everyone wants to know. Did you gamble on baseball? Which he said in the press conference that he didn't. And then explain to me how somebody could take $4.5 million out of your account. You didn't see it. Your representatives didn't notice. How did that happen? Doesn't have to answer that question.
But it is amazing. Now, granted, a lot of these scandals and things happened with guys in New York, like Alex Rodriguez. But, whether it was Sosa or McGuire with the PEDs or Pete Rose with his gambling scandal, it's all anybody talked about forever, right? Why is this dying now? And I think it does play into the fact that, in general, people just care about what's going on. It's not a national sport anymore, Michael. It's just not. So, Ohtani, that's LA's problem. That's the Dodgers' problem. They're focused on when's Judge going to hit, when's Nemo going to hit.
This guy's an international star.
I know, but the one thing I do think you exaggerate a bit, Michael, is his effect in the States. Yes, he's an international star, but again, to most people, all right, that's Japan's problem. Like, I don't know how much he translates into superstardom in the United States. Now, if he played for the Yankees, I think it would completely be unbelievable.
But you're playing for the Dodgers,
yeah, and in L.A., it's a big deal, but I don't think people in New York care about what's happening with it. Now, it's better than the Angels because the Dodgers are really good, and I think the Dodgers have a little bit more of a following.
Yeah, a lot more.
A lot more, but not enough to where, Peter, it becomes a national story anymore. Once you threw the first pitch, you're focused on your team. Now, when the Dodgers come here, it'll be a traveling circus.
Well, there just hasn't been enough follow-up from it. I mean, I think this would be a really big story if frankly, baseball was requiring him to talk in any way. But because it's quiet, Michael, what do people really have to say about it? It's hard. There's no new information.
Yeah, I mean, what do we continue to have these discussions? He should be talking, or, gee, how could he have not known about the $4.5 million? We have nothing to go on, which is exactly their plan. And I would love for it to happen in New York. I always talk about this guy because he's a good friend and he's a dogged reporter. I would love to see them try to pull that nonsense with Joel Sherman. And there's some good reporters in L.A. It wouldn't be allowed. He would be in Hal Steinbrenner's office. Why is this going on? We have to ask this guy questions.
Now, I was kidding on the square a little bit when I said about the lack of interest on the West Coast in sports, but this is kind of feeding into what I was saying, is that there's no accountability out there, Michael. Remember when Manny Ramirez was a Red Sox, it's like, oh my God, well, they embraced him in LA. They didn't care about his antics or anything because that's just kind of how things are out there. So I don't know how much they care out there, Michael. And so the media, I think, covers as much as they think the fans care. I don't know if the fans in LA or the fans on the West Coast have that level of accountability that they have here at the East, where the media is just kind of going with what the fans want to know. They demand information. The media goes out there and gets it. I think the media is taking the cue from the fans. The fans don't care, so the media doesn't care.
Yeah, well, again, I'm not going to sit here and judge the LA media, but your job is not to give the fans what they want. Your job is to get to the truth. And then if you get to the truth and you have a big story, the fans might want it.
No, unfortunately, Michael, the job is your publisher telling you what story to go out there and get, and they're motivated by what the readers want to read about.
What publisher wouldn't want to win a Pulitzer Prize and find out that there's something untoward going on with Shohei Ohtani? It could be the biggest story ever. And you're allowing him to get away with not answering questions. It's inconceivable to me. Peter, again, you said it. Think about an athlete in the middle of something like this that has never had to answer questions. A-Rod answered questions. Pete Rose answered questions. Where are the questions? Where are they? Where are the answers? I hope that the investigators are making him answer questions.
It's very weird, Michael, and in the long run, it could end up looking very, very bad for baseball. The fact that Michael Kay is pointing this out, now granted, Michael, you're sort of in a unique position, voice of a team and have a talk show in a major market, but I have to imagine throughout baseball, people have this conversation. Not just people writing. You have Dodgers writers who must be thinking it and frustrated because they think they have the opportunity to get to a big story. But throughout the country, people must be thinking, what gives here? Not to mention every other ball player who's been investigated for other stuff where they would not get off these guys' backs. I mean, all these other subjects. Now, granted, you could view this as a different sort of controversy than a steroid situation, but this seems like a standard that is unfair and that there's no precedent for.
Think about it in football, which is they control the media more than anybody. The biggest stars, the quarterbacks, they have to answer questions at least once a week. Bill Belichick, although he didn't say anything, he had to answer questions once a week. LeBron James has to answer questions after every single game. Shohei Ohtani has yet to answer a question. Inconceivable to me. A lot of stuff to do. We'll come back. Yankees, Mets, UConn, Rangers, Knicks, Islanders. What a day in sports right here on Yes, 98.7 ESPN.